Hey everyone, welcome to this week's show. We're gonna be talking about how to live to 100. So this is a super exciting topic, super exciting episode. And I'm just gonna give it a few minutes here while we share this out on Facebook and get it going for this evening. Hello, hello, if you're just joining us, good to see you. Okay, let's go live on Facebook. Hey, Eric and Lisa. So good to see you. Are you guys excited for this one? Make sure that you get all your questions ready. I feel like there's always lots of questions in how to live to 100, right? So get your questions ready, guys, because Dr. Bart and Dr. Bob are keen to answer them. Hello, hello. If you're just always excited, awesome. Eric and Lisa, I love it. If you're just joining us, say hi. Kathleen, Natalie, good to see you. Oh, we got Dr. Bart in the house too. Woohoo!
Woohoo is right.
Uh-huh.
Good to see you, girl.
Good to see you.
How is what in Australia? Winter, summer? What are you guys?
Yeah, we're winter. I'm freaking freezing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Not freezing here. Not freezing here in sunny Florida.
Oh no, I'm jealous. They won't let me out, otherwise I'd be there.
That's right. You guys are kind of stuck there for a minute. No worries, no worries. In due time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I see some people popping on. So if you guys are just getting on, make sure you let us know who you are and where you're from. And hopefully Dr. Bob is going to be able to get his technology down tonight and join us at the right time here. By the way, I am so excited to have Bob on here. And then I also have the other Dr. Bob in the house tonight. Yes.
Awesome. That Dr. Bob is good too. Yes. Helps your health as well, right?
Yes. So of course, anyone who's just jumping on, let us know where you're from. And then of course, tonight, as we're rolling along here, fire away questions. The gentleman that I'm having on tonight, Dr. Bob Bacon, he is he's just a powerhouse of information, which is cool. And I'm glad he's not on hearing me say that, because I don't want to, and we're good buddies. So, but nonetheless, he's a powerhouse of good information. Yes. And,
okay.
All right, so and then let me know when you get us going live here as well. Should I contact Bob?
I just did.
Okay.
Oh, you're here.
So for those of you who have if this is your first time, make sure you say hi. Make sure you can click below. There's a little chat button in your window here somehow. Even if you're on your phone, you'll be able to click your chat button. You guys can fire questions at us if you want. And then of course, let me know where you're at. We have a great guest tonight, Dr. Bob Bacon. Hopefully he's going to be on at least. If not, I got it covered. At least I think I got this covered.
He's gonna be on. He's on watching us, but we got to get him on as a panelist. Let me see if I can. Oh, hey, Bob. Actually, I think I can just
All right.
See if yes.
I think he's coming.
Yeah, Bob. If you can see us, if I can unmute you. And then you can show your camera. We are live.
I made it.
Yes.
I made it.
Dr.
Yes.
Bob is in the house.
You want me to bark, drool a little bit for you, like the real Dr. Bob?
No, I got him. I got him. He'll come on. He'll make a cameo in just a moment here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, now that everybody's here, I'm gonna let's get started. We are live on Facebook, and so as always, for the new people on, I just want to intro our host, Dr. Bart. So Dr. Bart has been a health care provider for over 20 years, practicing a range of modalities. So chiropractic, acupuncture, kinesiology, nutrition and supplementation, and functional testing, all out of his clinic, Balance Health Studio in Seagrove Beach, Florida. He's also the founder of the Health Edge program, which is a virtual program for executives and entrepreneurs wanting to take their health to the next level. So he's worked with thousands of people around the world, including athletes and celebrities. So we always love to hear his take on these health topics every week, including this one, which is I know we always say they're exciting, but this is a good topic. And so Bob, we are super excited to also have you on, because Dr. Bob Bacon, he received his doctorate of chiropractic degree in 2003 from the prestigious Life University, and since then has been helping thousands of families stay well and be healthy out of his clinic, East Cobb Spine and Sport Chiropractic. So this practice is unique from other chiropractic offices in that he embraces a total wellness philosophy, which is what we love to talk about on this show, and he incorporates both body and mind, making sure that they function optimally to be able to really help people become superhuman, which is what we're all about. So he's an expert in clinical nutrition and really diving deep under the hood to get to the root cause, which again is what we talk about every week. So we're excited to learn how to live to 100.
Wow, me too. Let's do this.
I want to know just as much as everybody out here.
I tell you what, this is it's interesting. This is the topic because every day, this is part of my strategy. And I don't know if Bob, you and I ever talked about this. So every day I think about. So I'm 50 right now. This past year I turned 50 years old, and I think, what if I'm going to spend the next 50 years of on this earth right here? What do I have to do with my mind, my body, and my nutrition, like all of the above? So I'm super excited. I always know that anytime I hear you speak, Dr. Bob, I'm going to learn something. So before we go into this, I'm going to dive in, and I'm going to fire some questions at you. And I told you coming on this, I don't know where it's going to go, and our listeners know.
Well, hang on real quick, Bart. Before you say that, before you start with that, I love that idea of the 50 years, right? You thinking that way? I challenge my clients to ask them, if you were standing there talking to your 60 or 70-year-old self, Bart, what would you thank you for doing? And what would you be like, why did you do that?
Ooh.
Now the ownership falls back on the individual, and it's no longer a battle between us. It's more about, what do you want for your 60, 70-year-old self to really change? So anyway, go back to your question. Sorry about interrupting.
Yeah. So in a moment, I want to kind of hear how you got into everything in just a moment. But I first want to kind of share with everyone how you and I know each other. So, and I think this will bring up a good point. And I was thinking about it earlier about my 100-year lifestyle and moving forward. Like, what are the things I want to see? So Dr. Bob and I met, there's probably maybe 3-4 years ago now?
Yep. Yeah, a little bit less probably, yeah. Yeah,
and randomly enough, just sitting next to each other at a seminar that Karen, you were at. It was in Atlanta. And I think the way we got each other's attention, I was like sneaking in my bag, and I was like eating my little supplements, long days. And then Bob reaches over and says, hey man, try this one. And he gives me this powdered magnesium drink. And I'm like, oh, let me get my water bottle. He says, no, man, just do it straight. Just put it on your tongue, get your saliva fired up, and get that to absorb all those trace minerals and nutrients right into your body. You'll feel like a new man. And I thought I was nuts. So that was my first introduction. And then it didn't surprise me that as the next couple of years went, that I would see him at the similar, events that I would go to. And it reminds me of when I look forward to, moving forward into the next part of my life, is that my tribe. and how important. So definitely one of the things I want you to talk about, Bob, and you probably will, but literally how important is tribe? And I do want to hear your story first. Maybe we can circle back, but you know, I consider you part of my tribe, and Karen's part of my tribe, and I'm really blessed. Like our followers, our listeners here tonight on Facebook and Zoom, I feel like the entire tribe partially holds me accountable, which is a great thing. And I think that's a wonderful thing about the tribe. And I love the fact that I can pick up the phone at any time as a friend, but also as a clinician. And, you know, as a clinician, that if I need help with something, that's the beauty that we have back and forth. I think a lot of our our patients and our clients might not know that we might not know everything all the time.
We don't want them to know we don't, but yes, we don't know everything. That's exactly right.
And you know, one of my absolute favorite things about you, Bob, and that's why I had you on tonight, is that no matter what's going on, you always seem to make the topic fun. So, and I love that approach. And I bet your patients that are hearing this tonight, that are on with us tonight, that they'll agree that when they go to Dr. Bob's office, somehow they start to feel better on their way to the office. Yeah. You do your magic, and then they leave and they're just lit up, and they get to go home and light their families up. So with all that being said, give me a feel. What got you into this crazy health world? Oh, before I even go there, I know. Listen, I gotta throw this in. So then Dr. Bob visits me down at my clinic in Florida. Awesome. Love to see it. And then I met what really was taking place. So I got a chance to meet his wonderful wife, Claire, who, if you do know Dr. Bob and his wife, Claire, really it's Claire. Claire's the brains. She's the intelligent one. She's the one with incredible fire. So I called her. She wasn't available tonight. I'm just kidding.
So true. So true.
She is, so Dr. Bob right here.
Yes.
Yeah, an amazing, and it doesn't surprise me that you have an incredible, beautiful wife who's also intelligent and passionate, just like you are. So, Bob, tell me a little about you.
Real quick, her story is impressive because what happened is she's a civil engineer who's been practicing, was in engineering for almost 20 years. And since I started doing nutrition, I was taking her along with me on all the trips I went on to follow around these mentors of mine to really learn about nutrition. So she came along. And then, of course, started doing the nutrition, which is there's a one product we're going to talk about tonight that she is totally in love with, that she's seen such a change in her physiology that dove her further down the rabbit hole to learn more about nutrition and why we are now. Now she doesn't practice engineering. She keeps her license just because, she's earned it. But she's in the practice full time and doing all of our virtual, and she's doing amazing. So it literally, and I think that people know that, and you're 100% right. People come in, and we almost are a little bit opposite, Claire and I, but because I'm a little fired up always, and she's a little bit more mellow and keeps me kind of level-headed. So I think that's what you were talking about, Bart. Most people would rather talk to her than me because I'm all over the place. However, so are you. So so this is going to be a great conversation. So how I got started, well, the whole thing was the chiropractic idea, right? So I was in high school playing basketball, ended up hurting my shoulder. I went skiing. So I'm from out west, so out in Seattle area where there's great skiing. And you're not allowed to ski during the same time of basketball season. And my coach, you know what, I wonder if I should be telling this story. But anyway, so my coach was like, no skiing. And I had a buddy of mine, and I was probably a perfect student, Bart. So were you, right? So I never really disobeyed. I followed all the rules. And a buddy of mine kind of, swayed me into going skiing with him. So I went skiing with him, and I hurt my shoulder. And of course, I had to hide this. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to come home. I'm going to get in trouble. I can't play basketball. I can't do this. And my mom was like, hey, we got a chiropractor with a family friend. And I didn't even know the guy. Went to the chiropractor literally in the first couple of visits. And I love the guy. He enjoyed what he did. He was fired up all the time. He called me Double B for Bob Bacon. Just Double B's, how you doing? And literally you'd go in there and you'd be a part of this, this vitality that you felt. And that was pretty much it. That was where I was like, wait a minute, I can do this? I can work with my hands. I can work anywhere. I was hooked, brother, and that was it. And needless to say, we won state that year, but it was for academic. We actually lost in the going into the semis. So anyway, we won academic for our school. So there you go. A little shout out to the 12 high school fans out there.
Nice.
So that got me into it. And then I transitioned from, of course, the chiropractic, literally going into, we got great results through chiropractic. But as we started working through chiropractic, we realized that there were so many people, and we were dealing with so many nutritional deficiencies that people weren't going to make it. Even the same adjustments we were getting great results with were no longer working like they used to. And then we realized that was more of a problem with not just the chiropractic, but more of the physiology that was going on with the body. And when you talk about living to 100, your physiology and your communication system from the brain down to the rest of the body has got to be optimal. Otherwise, you're just training that body with poor biomechanics and poor therapies that the body's trying to just adapt to, and it's just going to break down at some point. And that's where, I mean, honestly, that's pretty much where we came about doing all the stuff that we're doing and seeing amazing life transformations that are happening all the time. I mean, it's a blessing to be able to work like this, to be honest.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, Bob, I think you're probably going to be familiar with this. What I'm going to talk about next. I told you nothing about this, but I want to tie it in because I know you kind of have like almost like a system to prepare people for, like, hey, get your ducks in line. And how do you like look at it? What are you trying to measure? So I want to talk. So when we talk about like the 100-year lifestyle and living to 100, for a lot of people, that's a number that is out there, yet it's like almost facetious because they think, well, I don't really know many people that are 100 years old. So with that,
and the ones that they do know, and the ones they do know don't really look like they're, really vibrant or healthy or alive. So it's a little bit,
Yeah. So Dr. Bob, are you familiar with the Hunza tribe?
I am familiar with the Hunza tribe.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that fascinated me. So if the people are looking, you can literally watch this or look it up on Google. Hunza tribe. They're up in Pakistan, up in the Himalayan mountains. I think their entire population is around 70 or 80,000 people, and it is on average that they live to about 120 years old. They have people that have lived to 150. That the males have sex easily at 100 years old. No Viagra, and it's not uncommon for a 65-year-old woman to give birth. So these are the people, and I think what you're going to talk about tonight is going to kind of sweep back around and talk about really what they're doing differently than what we might be doing in our current lifestyles. So when I first understood that or heard about that, and it was probably a decade ago, I was saying, well, what are they doing? What are they doing? What magic pill are they taking?
Right.
And really the magic pill is really what you're probably going to be talking about tonight, because there's no one magic pill. It becomes the lifestyle. So talk to me a little bit about this kind of program, if you want to.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I'll tell you what those people are not doing. They're not eating McDonald's. And they're definitely avoiding some of the white flour, white sugar, and things like that are causing a lot of the disease process that we're working through. But let's go back and talk a little bit about, like you said, what this program is. For me, living the dream is kind of our little slogan. In fact, it's on the back of my shirt. In fact, I don't even know if it's on. Yeah, it's on the back of my shirt here when we wear it at the office. And it's not about my dream, it's about their dream. And what we want them to understand is in order for them to live the dream, they have to follow a certain few rules that we have. And we talk about the 4 F's of living the dream, and they're pillars. And these 4 F's are function, in other words, kind of the spine and movement; fuel, which is beautiful, that's kind of what we're putting in; focus, which is how we think and kind of what we're doing and wrapping our mind around; and then the finance aspect. So people can tell me that they value their families or whatever they do. Well, I can look at their checkbook or their credit card statement and see where their values really lie. I mean, this is when it really comes when the rubber hits the road, if you want to start making change. And this is what we do in our practice. So we really put them through this kind of process and go, okay, well, what do you really look for? And what do you want from me to help you to maximize so that you can live to be 100? So, I mean, I think that's kind of the program idea, but we can dive into it deeper, brother.
Yeah, let's dive in. Let's dive into it. So, our show is called Making Health Simple, and function's like the word that like sounds good, right? Let's go over function. Function's real simple.
Like I talk about the brain. The brain needs, the brain is only about 5% of our mass, and yet it consumes 25% of our energy. So it's pretty important when you say. So the idea, though, is what does the brain need to really, truly thrive? There's 3 things that it really needs. And we'll put Karen on the spot since I already kind of prepped you, Bart. It needs 3 things. So the 3 things that the brain needs, and they're all equally as important. Number 1, and you do it all the time, so never stop breathing, right? So oxygen. The other one's going to be, do you have any idea, Karen?
Learning?
Learning's good, but let's go with fuel. So learning's great. You got to keep learning, right? That's awesome. And it always is learning because it's always adapting. But fuel's going to be number 2, and fuel's going to be the ketone bodies or glucose, depending on what diet you have, right? What kind of diet you're going to follow. Remember, that diet is like a spigot. So you have carbohydrates that will feed the brain, and that's going to be when you're eating more in the summertime, which normally when you look at the tribal, they're eating what? Vegetables and fruits and things like that during that summertime. And they're actually conserving energy by storing it in fat. Then when you get to wintertime, there aren't as many of those fruits and vegetables. So what are they going to do now? They're actually hunting and gathering and looking for these foods, which is going to be usually meats or proteins, which then you're going to see that spigot on the carbohydrate start to turn down to where it just drips. And then you're going to see the opening of the ketones, and that's how the body's going to thrive and feed itself. Now for the brain, the next thing that the brain needs, and it's the third thing, and Bart, you and I do this beautifully. It's the one thing that we talk about in our profession about proprioceptive input, and it's activation. Activation is key, and what we're talking about by activation is literally, just to give you an example, if I sit you down all day long, conserving energy, giving you the American diet or Australian diet, so you get plenty of carbs, right? You're getting plenty of food, plenty of fuel, yet at the end of the day, you're feeling more what? More lethargic, more tired. You're not energized. You're really kind of just sitting there, kind of relaxed, right? But if I get you up, actually burn energy, shake you up, move you around, have you go do stuff, you're now stimulating that brain. The brain now is driving the body. Now you're burning energy, and yet you're still feeling more energetic. That is the brilliance of what we do in our practice, is we get people. That's why exercise is so amazing with what we're doing. And I really like to focus on it this way, is if it's segmental movement that's stuck or fixated, that's where I think the chiropractic is so impactful, that you get that movement back in there and it just lights up the brain. And you're right, Bart, when you said this. In fact, it's funny. When people come to the office, one of the things they want, and this is neat, and you can ask any of them, hopefully some of them are on there, maybe they'll chat, but one is the energy that we keep. And to me, why? I mean, I love what I'm doing. I'm fired up about it. I get to watch lives change in front of me all day long. They want to know what I'm taking and why I'm taking it and how they get the same energy, which is a mindset. Bart, you've said this before. I've watched you on your Facebook stuff all the time about how you get the chance to step out of bed and really predict what's going to happen for you that day. Now, you don't get to predict all of it, but you get to take the mindset going into that day and go, all right, how am I going to handle this? If I stub my toe, am I going to go, oh, it's going to be one of those days? Or I stub my toe and I laugh it off like, seriously? All right, let's go. Next step, right? So that's the functional aspect of what I'm looking at when it comes to this, not without deviating too far off on the people and stuff like that. But function is a big key to really driving that brain. And then again, we also talk about how many people are on antidepressants. And I told Bart that I'm a positive guy, so we will not talk about glyphosate. We won't talk about Roundup. We won't talk about all these chemical toxins that are out there. What I do in my practice really well, and I really enjoy, is I'm going to learn how to build you up, find your weaknesses, and then strengthen you, versus scare you into all of these tactics that, you know, oh my God, you got to worry about this. So you're going to have to do all this blood work. You're going to have to do all this stuff to really kind of figure out. Really, it's so simple to kind of get you going in the right direction if we understand really the physiology. I mean, come on, those people up in the woods and up in the mountains, they're not running blood work. They're not doing tests. They're not, you know what I mean? They're going to talk to they're talking to their elderlies of what they're doing, right? And they're learning from them about how to stay healthy and well.
You know, Bob, you made a couple great points there, and sometimes it's simpler than we make it out to be. We often talk about, you know, people often ask, like, what to eat? What to eat? We're talking, it's God's garden. It comes from a root plant. He walks in the garden, swims in the sea, eat it. You said something interesting, a little off topic here, but it's real important, I think, that the audience hears this, because often for so many people, weight loss is a big issue. So Dr. Bob just said that it is natural that during the summer, we carb up and store in our fat cells. So I've been saying this for years. I've been helping people lose weight in healthy ways. But it's interesting that our bodies gain weight during the summer when we want to put our bikinis on. Well, I don't really put my bikini on, but you know what I'm saying. It is. But our minds work against that. So often we are actually working against this natural, innate, you know, brilliance that's taking place in our body. You know, and the other part there, and I think if, you know, you and I, Bob, we do this so often, every day we unlock. So when we talk about function, and so our listeners get this clear, literally, if your spine is locked up, if you're stiff, if you're rigid, a rigid body is a rigid mind, and it goes hand in hand. So it's not rocket science. You don't even need to know, like, to have a professional evaluation of your spine. It's just simple, meaning this: if you feel rigid, you're blocked. Like, that's inhibiting the quality of the nerve transmission, that firing that Dr. Bob's talking about. All right, Bob. So that's function. We could dive in even deeper if we wanted to. The next topic is probably one we could spend like a month on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we could spend a couple minutes on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about fuel.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, fuel, and I want to harp on this too. You know, our body is better at adapting to less food than it is adapting to excessive food. And the problem in our society is what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Excessive
food. Yeah, constantly, right? We're constantly eating, constantly snacking. In fact, I had a lady in today that literally said, you know what, doc, I don't even care like to even snack anymore. I don't know what you're giving me or what we're doing. But like I feel, and one of those products, Bart, you wanted me to talk about, is that product. And she goes, I don't know what we're doing, but wow, I don't even snack anymore. I feel like I'm satisfied. You know, just that the understanding of understanding what we're doing and putting into our system really gives us the opportunity to build our system up. What we're doing on a regular basis is breaking our body down. And that's a sad truth. I mean, it's the, you know, the white bread, white sugar, white pasta. I mean, the things that we've already talked about. And what we should do is start eating, like you said, from God's garden and really start paying attention to what's going in versus trying to figure out where I'm like, I'm gonna rephrase that real quick and really figure out where we're deficient and make ourselves more sufficient. Because I think that's one of the big things too when it comes to nutrients, because the body needs to be sufficient. And so I didn't want to go down the road and say, oh, what are we being toxic with? Because then we can talk about the liver and we can talk about how the body detoxifies. And then I don't want to go into that route. It's pretty complicated. But the neat thing about it is really just figuring out what the body needs in order for the body to grow and adapt. So sufficiency would be, what does the body really thrive? Well, how does the body really thrive and what does it need? And deficiency is going to be, well, here's a simple story for you. In 1940, the FDA checked the soils in the United States and they found that they were depleted in minerals. So Bart, if they're depleted in the minerals, they're going to be depleted in the plant. They're going to be depleted in the plant if you eat it, or they're depleted for the cow. And if you eat the cow, everything now has been depleted. So overall, this is why there's such a business in supplementation. And I think supplementation is not there to stop you from eating. It's there to fill in the gaps, right? And really kind of piece you together and give you some of that sufficiency versus always being deficient. So that's kind of our nutshell. And then of course we dive deeper down and really kind of get into the function of fuel and what it all deals with. And people come in with all these types of symptoms, and they're really just they're the red lights going off or the oil light going off in the car going, hey, we have a problem here. Don't take, the black tape and stick it over the sticker and then ignore it. Really go ahead and figure out why that car has that engine light on or what's going on. And that's where the fuel aspect comes in big time. So.
Bob, you just talked about the body works better, it's more efficient with less versus more. Yep. So I had a client come in with her daughter this morning, and so the daughter was about 15 years old, kind of hitting that, that hormone phase, and says every time about middle of the month, daughter just doesn't lose her appetite, doesn't want to eat. And the mom definitely wanted me to tell her, you need to eat. She wanted me to tell her or force her to eat. And these are the simple moments like that is a moment when if we just step back for a little bit and just listen to the body, it's always telling us what we do or don't need. In this scenario, the relief on this child's, face when I said, listen, if you're not hungry, don't eat. This isn't force feed. And I think, for all the listeners right now, that might be something if you have children out there, because I hear so often that the parents are saying, kids, it's such a fight in the morning, they don't want to eat. With the reality, Bob, and maybe this is a conversation we visit again and talk a little bit about, like keto and stuff like that. But that is when, let's listen. Let's listen to the kids sometimes, because they're telling us right away that we're just not hungry right now. We don't need the fuel. And then unfortunately, we start to plow down some of the, the donuts and the Legos and
whatever it may be, right? We bribe them. We'll give them something sweet that they'll eat, thinking that that's what they need to eat. And here's a great thing for that. That girl that's 15, what people don't understand is that girl's trying to tone down the amount that she has to digest to give her liver a chance to process the hormones so that she's able to have a natural cycle. We talk about this stuff all the time in the office, like you're saying. People eat tons of meat and all this stuff, but it's hard to process. And that's why they have intensive cramps and other problems, because that cholesterol goes up, and then you're creating more with the estrogen. And what's the backbone of every hormone is cholesterol. And so it's not to depress or to suppress cholesterol. It's really about what? Making sure you're paying attention to what your body's dealing with, and then have a doctor like you, my friend, to go, hey, listen, this is what we should be doing versus suppressing. Here's your birth control. Here's your pill. Here's this. When really understand, like you said, listening to the body. It's beautiful.
You know what the beauty is today, and I think, and you'll see with a lot of your people as well, is that when I talked to her, the mom this morning, it was so interesting to see that light bulb go off.
Yeah.
And I think she also had this general relief, yeah, okay, I can just roll with it. And she's an absolute health warrior. So I love that she was able to listen, and the fact that she was bringing her daughter in to improve the function of her body. So another quick thing here, Bob, we talked about deficiencies, and we were both real familiar with the company standard process, and they use supplements, whole food supplements. One of the things that really made me interested in them way back in the day when I found out they had soil. Some parts of their farm were as deep, their topsoil was as deep as 8 feet deep.
Yeah.
So, and I know you understand this too, but for our listeners to know this, so their soil that they're growing their vegetables and arugula and all their good stuff out of, 8 feet deep soil. That literally takes, from what I understand, about 1 million years to get that type of soil. Most of the topsoil in our country is between 1 to 3 inches. Yeah. And that is why there's such a deficiency in so many people across the board, even when we think we're eating good.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the problem. I mean, and we've been to the farm. So going to the farm, it's so neat to walk that farm and see it, and then look across the street at a conventional farm and literally see how it's like gray. And then you look at how dark and rich the soil is in standard process. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is what we're eating. I mean, we're literally eating this soil. And to me, you're right. The soils are so depleted now. But look at what we're doing as a society. We're walking around now. You're walking, Bob, out there. And now we're picking up all the feces. And what are we doing? We're throwing it in the garbage disposal or in the dump. How is that going to fertilize the soils and actually give life and vitality back to the plants and nutrients? I mean, it just, you really see what we're doing. You're kind of like, okay, well, hang on now. This shouldn't be right.
So just a reminder for our everyone watching here tonight on Facebook or here live on Zoom, if you have questions, fire away. No question will be left unanswered. So Bob, let's I'm gonna put the other Dr. Bob down here. Let's move forward and talk about the other part here. So we talked a little bit about function. We talked a little about fuel. Let's talk about focus.
Yeah.
Tell me where that falls into this play of trying to develop a plan, a strategy for a 100-year lifestyle or more for that matter.
Yeah, I really love the idea of them talking to themselves at 60 or 70 or 80. Like, I really like that mentality. What would you say to yourself if you were eating poorly, or if you're like, it's just one Twinkie? And then, I mean, the cool thing about this too, Bart, is let's say you ate a Big Mac and literally 5 seconds later you fell off with a heart attack. I mean, you actually had chest pain, you're sweating right there. They revive you and they get you back to life. Would you ever eat that Big Mac again? I mean, that's the idea. But we take these small choices. We eat a small Big Mac, or we do this here and we do that there. The body is so resilient and so amazing how well it can adapt that it literally doesn't just shut down. It just stores this or does that or kind of just keeps adapting through it. That's why we see such change when we give them sufficiencies. When you start throwing things in there, you start teaching them how to think a little bit differently, waking up every day and going, hey, I turn the lights on and they come on. I open the garage door and I get my car out of the garage, versus I have to lift it or I'm going to ride my bike to work, which probably is not a bad idea. And for some of us, like Bart, gets to ride their bike every day to work. Pretty nice. A little jealous of that still. Waiting for a job offer, Bart. Anyway, so like those are the things that we're looking for. I mean, honestly, so to me, when it comes to those ideas, Bart, that's the way I go. Like, I literally challenge them to go, listen to what's going on. Look at where you are. Stop focusing so much on what you want, or, I mean, even the idea of setting goals, to really push yourself to be more about health and wellness and well-being of your family. And then that rolls right into that financial aspect. I mean, literally what we're doing, we spend so much time and so much money and so much effort watching the TV or seeing somebody on a celebrity this or celebrity that, and we're like, wow, I want more of that, or I want this, instead of going, wait a minute, like all 10 work, right? I have people that I see, they're amputees that come into my office. I mean, Bart, come on. Cerebral palsy, they got MS. I mean, it's tough when you see this type of public walk through the door and population, and you realize that somebody's going to complain because, here's where we are. Now, we are in a time with this whole COVID thing that, boy, oh boy, I mean, it is, you can't find. Now, that's why I'll bring you in close here, Bart. So we can have our tribe and stay really close and have the same fundamental principles and ideas so that you and I can sit back and go, okay, they're probably going to throw a vaccine at us. Okay, so what's my mindset if they do that, Bart? My mindset is literally, what can I do to strengthen me so that if I have to do a virus or a vaccine in order for me to fly to visit Karen, then I want to make sure I'm as strong as can be so I can do that, versus freaking out, panicking, I'm moving to Canada, wherever you're going to go. But you can't run from this. Things are going to happen. So literally, this is where I think sufficiency and take care of you. So these conversations that you're asking, they all overlap, Bart. You seeing this continuity of this process in here? It's not a one thing, let's focus, even though we go through it monthly. We kind of go through it monthly so that they can kind of follow it along. And it's a 4-month plan. We do 4 months. And in my practice, I see people, monthly, and we reevaluate every 4 months to make sure we're going in the right direction. I haven't lost what they're looking for, and they're continuing to keep driving to what they want.
Bob, let's back up a little bit. And
you always tell me to back up. I want to go forward. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's talk about the tribe. Let's talk about time. And I want to talk about tribe on all levels because professionally we have tribes. We surround our people with like minds and help elevate us, and they continue to stretch us. We have our family. Hopefully that tribe is solid. How important do you think right now tribe is when it comes to the simple things like fueling?
Yeah.
So how influential is that tribe? How influential are the people that you have around your life right now? And what would you say to people right now because of COVID right now, and we're stuck a little bit more, and the majority of the input that we're receiving through Facebook and the news isn't necessarily solid, uplifting stuff, right?
No.
So where would you put the importance of tribe right now? And maybe just speak to a little bit, because I know that, your family means a lot to you, your patients mean a lot, your team means a lot. Give us a little input there.
Well, I'll tell you what, that tribe it's huge. I mean, I've talked to I see a lot of chiropractors in my office because they come in and get adjusted. I'm right by Life, so I've got a lot of, other docs around there. And it's neat that they come into our practice, to get adjusted with the assessment we use. But I think we didn't really see a big drop off, Bart. Like, you know what I mean? The people that are coming to us in our practice, I mean, they're congruent with the idea that in order for me to be well, I better move well, or I better, eat well, or I better not so much about, I should isolate, I should distance myself, I should, now listen, if there's something going on, like they feel like they have some asthma or bronchial issues, or there's an underlying condition that we need to worry about, listen, I am the first to say, you take care of you. If you need my help, let me know. But by all means, don't feel like you have to compromise your health. But what we believe in, Bart, is that we're really driving people to try and keep them well versus this fear tactic that's really kind of been going on. And of course, Bart, in our tribe that we have, like I get text messages from Dr. White and, even, we've got a lot of buddies that we cross over with that to me, when you see these text messages, like somebody got tested at 10 a.m. and I can show you the text right here. It's pretty neat. He got tested at 10 a.m. because he's going to do a surgery. Was positive COVID at 10 a.m. Went back and got tested at 5 p.m. and was negative. I mean, like when I see that, I'm kind of like, oh boy, what are we? What's happening? And I'll pull this up before we leave. I'll pull this text up because it is kind of neat. I won't show you his name, but it's kind of neat to have it in there. But anyway, I think that tribe is huge. I mean, honestly, brother, I would sit here and spend time with you guys and talking about what we're doing and how we're going to power through this, what we're going to do in case of. One of the masterminds I really enjoy doing is Dr. White. I mean, he's a brilliant individual. So to me, it's getting that opportunity to be around those guys and the practice that we have. I really feel like I'm in a bubble. I mean, honestly, I know it sounds weird, but I'm in a bubble where people are all like-minded and we're all going in the same direction.
Yeah. I feel very blessed in that same way. And I don't think it's by mistake. And I think that's what I want to share with our audience tonight is that, we get to create our tribes. Sometimes some people will say that's not true, but for the most part you get to, because of what you put out there, you're normally going to attract back. And I'm going to encourage everyone listening tonight, just listen to what Dr. Bob's saying. Like, you can feel his vibe and everything. And so it's no surprise that, your office stayed thriving through the whole thing. And we've been blessed in that same way. But I think moving forward, I think it's going to be more important. And the truth is, everyone's watching this tonight. They're going to see the replay. They're on Facebook Live. They're going to be in that same mindset, and you're going to have to continue to keep that mindset and let it get strong and anchor that in. And the way we do that is constantly having strategies, keep experimenting, keep moving forward, keep thinking about, like, I love what you call living the dream. Like, what's it going to live in the dream? And I love the idea of thinking of my 70-year-old self asking me, and I actually go through that exercise a lot of look at the 90-year-old body and the 90-year-old mind. And then he comes back and speaks to me and he says those things. And hopefully he's got some good messages for me. Yeah. All right. So I want to back you up again. All right.
Let's go.
Before we back up, should we just take a couple of questions quickly?
Please. Yeah. Let's fire away. Put Bob on the spot.
All right, Bob.
Let's go.
Well, we've got one from Sandy. She says, what do you think of vaccines for a 65-year-old? I've never gotten them, but I wonder if getting a flu shot or something like that would strengthen my immune system as I get older.
Bart, I'm going to handle this one. Here's how I'm going to handle it. I'm going to be very tactful about this. So here's what's neat, and here's the way I talk to my clients about this, because I'm very easy when it comes, I'm very careful about tightrope walking this conversation. Vaccines for the flu have been around 70 years, plus actually, I think a little bit more. So when you start thinking about that, and we still get the flu, I'm a little bit weary and not really positive that I think the vaccine's the best way to go. Now, it's everybody's, they're on their own. I think there are better ways, and with Sandy, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because she's wanting to strengthen her immune system. So
yeah, there are better ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are better ways to strengthen your immune system, and that to me is a better question than should I get a flu vaccine. I think it's more along the lines of what can I do to really strengthen me, and I think she brought that up because I was talking about the could be the COVID vaccine coming around. Not could be, it's probably going to happen. But what would I do? There are products for standard process that I take through biotics. There's a couple of places that I'll deviate to. Like Immuplex and Echinacea. These are products that you can take long term and really just help to fortify and build up your immune system, but it doesn't stop you from getting a virus. Remember, what we're doing is building the body up so that the virus may not last as long. Maybe we can work through it faster versus constantly doing the vaccine. And Sandy, I hope that makes sense to you, because it is something that Bart and I are probably very passionate about. So under our tutelage, and what we want to do is, we've had these conversations multiple times. We just have to be careful keeping our license, kind of what we would say or wouldn't say, to literally saying what you can do. I know what I would do, and I know what I'm going to do for me. It's for you to make that choice, and that's what's brilliant. So far, Bart, I'm going to hammer this one too. So far, we've had a choice to whether we can do vaccines. If you're not paying attention right now, you need to start paying attention, because they may mandate vaccinations. If they start doing that, they're taking away your rights to make a choice on what you get to put into your body. Literally, most viruses and bacteria come through the nose, the eyes, the mouth, the ears, and they get into the system. Never do they go directly into the bloodstream. Your body has ways of fighting this as it goes through versus getting directly inoculated or directly exposed. It just, like, as far as I'm concerned, it's just hard for me to go, okay, let's do that. And a lot of times when you ask the doctors what's in the vaccines, they really can't even mention many of the things. And if you want to go into that sometime, Bart, we can talk about that too, about what's all in vaccines. So it's a great topic, and I love talking about it. There's so much more to go through. But Sandy, if you have any questions like that, I mean, I'd love to, I hope that answers it for you. But I would do some things that Bart would know, or I would be able to help you out with, to really kind of fortify and strengthen your body if you felt like you had to have a vaccine. And that's what I said. If they mandate it to me, I'm going to make sure I strengthen my body. So I'm taking the right things, like a good fish oil, some Immuplex, Echinacea maybe too, turmeric, which you guys talked about not too long ago with Hogshead, our good buddy. I mean, those are things that I would really pay attention to help the body work through it. So.
And I think every week we talk about the things that we can control, right?
Yeah.
Like, what can we control? So regardless of what's happening, whether there are viruses, like, what do you have control over, which is the stuff you're talking about, fuel.
Yeah, healthy your body.
Like, what are you putting in? How can, regardless of what's happening with the things that you can't control, how are you making yourself superhuman? Which is
yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Bob, that was a picture perfect answer, quite frankly. So I hope all the listeners really appreciate that side of it. And my reference to is just, I do it on Facebook almost every day. I say, listen, we got to get prepared to be able to take a punch.
Yeah, the punch. That's right.
We're gonna get hit. And some people have built up the ability to handle a punch in the face, because we are not made of glass until we become deficient, and until we become overloaded and overburdened with toxins and stress, then we get a little weak. But if we work on, just like I said, if the strategy is how do we raise the bar here, how do we become superhuman, how do we get a stronger immune system, so be it. And I think that these are conversations that guys like you and I and other men and women in our profession, we're going to be forced to answer more and more as time goes by, because people are really going to want to know, and we will, and we'll have these conversations as we have to. But Dr. Bob hit it right on the head, folks. It's beautiful if it's a choice. The flu vaccine's been a choice for many years now. And if we continue to let it be a choice, it kind of pleases everybody to some degree. Yet that there's always, even if you make the choice to get it, I would still say get stronger no matter what. get stronger. Yeah. So Karen, you got any more questions for Dr. Bob?
Yeah, just we mentioned earlier a couple of supplements. Can we dive a little bit deeper into the two you were touching on as your kind of what do you describe them as? Your keys. If you only had to take two, these would be your supplements to take.
Yeah, you know, we do this all the time in the office. Like, I'll even ask my staff, okay, what's the two products you take, or what's your favorite? You know, we'll ask everybody, and they'll have a little bit different sometimes, but it always comes back to, and one of my wife's favorite is called Diaplex. What's the key with Diaplex, and I think Bart's going to have an offer for you guys. The key with Diaplex, it's dealing with these sugar cravings. It's dealing with the diabetes, the hyperglycemic, all these things, the bloated, digestive. It's got some stuff in it. It's got AF beta food for the liver. It's got pancreatropin for pancreas and pancreatic enzymes. It's got Zypan, which is hydrochloric acid, which helps your body break down nutrients. It has beta-col, which is even more of a liver detoxifier, which, guys, when we start talking about the liver, everything's processed through there. So if everything's processed through there, the body has to deal with it. If it starts to get congested, that's when you start to get joint pain, soreness, other things that come along with that. So the Diaplex, it's also got Arginex in it, which is a great kidney detoxifier. So it allows, remember the liver and the kidney are they work really good together. They're kind of like and you've heard this, I'm sure, Bart, a Lidney or a Cliver, whatever you want to call them. They work together. They're not separate entities. They are separate, but they're really working for phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 detoxification and how the body works. So elimination. So that would be Diaplex. Diaplex is amazing. You can do that. We do a cleanse, a blood sugar cleanse, that people will take 15 a day. And I'm telling you what, we crush the sugar cravings. That girl that we just talked about today that's up in New York that we're taking care of, she's on 2 of the products. Diaplex, which she no longer has sugar cravings or even wants to snack throughout the day, which is excellent. The other product that's really big is Hypothalamus. Now, we talk about, and I don't know about, that pituitary gland is the master gland that helps regulate all the endocrine system. That's why it became the master gland. However, there's a gland that sits above that helps the hormones, even to the pituitary gland, which is the hypothalamus. And so when people walk into my office, there's a couple products they're going to get, and one of those is going to be Hypothalamus, literally because I feel, and I joke with them, it puts the smile on your face. It literally makes the room brighter. It literally makes, the pink in your shirt just pop. It's one of those things that really helps upregulate that endocrine system to where you're feeling more vibrant and more healthy. And those two, Bart, I love it. I would challenge somebody to purchase these and take them for over even a week to 2 weeks and not see a difference in just the doses that we talked about. I guarantee it. They will notice a change, whether it be, I feel taller. No, I'm kidding, they won't grow. Whether they feel better, energetic, a little bit more vital and vitality. That's the idea with these products. And they're going to push food away. They're not going to be as hungry. And remember, we're better at adapting to less food than we are adapting to more food. So it's always better to do what? Tone down those cravings anyway. So those are the couple products, and we can spend hours on products too, though, bro.
Yeah, Bob, that the Diaplex, many of our listeners tonight will be very familiar with that. So in January, everyone does it. Well, not everyone, but there's literally hundreds of people that do our blood sugar cleanse. And I always tell them, this is the magic. Yeah. This guy right here, 15 a day. I've seen so many changes with that. Blood pressure changes, hormone imbalances, night sweats. I know you know the same thing. And just to reiterate what Bob said there's this product, it's so intelligently built. It works for the kidney, the liver, because those are, like you said, the kidney's downstream. It's one with the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. Those 4 things, those 4 organs are critical for how we manage food, how we manage everything that comes into the human body. So, and the stomach too.
Yeah.
So there's literally, as a practitioner, it's such an incredible weapon. And one of the things that I love so much about it, it'll literally down-regulate your sugar cravings. It helps you manage your insulin better, which out there right now, Bob, you'd probably agree, the biggest issues we're dealing with right now, it's sugar management, insulin, insulin resistance, and hormone imbalances.
Hormones, yeah.
Hormones. It's these 2 things, and that hypothalamus. You're absolutely right. We call it the happy pill. It's just another thing. It just makes you happy. It gets everything good.
Yeah. So those are 2. We love them. You can't go wrong with that. And I think if somebody's new to this and never been on anything or done this, that's a great challenge to really try that and just feel it out and see how that makes you feel. In the first couple of weeks, I've been to seminars where literally we chewed hypothalamus and asked how you felt 15 or 20 minutes later, and you could feel warmth in the back of your head. It's just circulation. It's just a whole endocrine just upregulation really quickly. So, yeah.
Wow, awesome. And just for everybody listening, we've added the link to Facebook, and then we just added the link to the chat here if you're with us in Zoom, so that you can click on those and get the link straight to those supplements.
Sweet. So Bob, let's do a little review here. I know I want you to give that analogy too. So we had the 4 F's, but you really kind of did 3, then you tied in the 4th. So go to that 4th one again, because I love this statement. You were talking to me about it, and you were actually, in a way, asking me if I was to show you my credit card, if I was to show you my bank statements, am I putting my money where my mouth is? And if you saw mine, I tell you what you would see. You would see an insane amount of money going for organic raw food. Insane. You would see the same thing if you guys saw my dog food bill. Actually, my wife hides that one from me because it doesn't stop. Like, it doesn't stop with me and my health. It goes for everyone in my tribe. So you see that. And then if you saw the amount of money that I spend on my personal care, things like massages and stuff like that, those are all kind of things that I spend on myself. I loved when you asked me that question. I was like, what if he looked there? What would he really find? So, but go back to that conversation, because I think it's good for everyone to hear here, because you can talk about it, and then really, what are you investing in? And I think of investing, Bob, in a couple ways. Energy, number 1. Our physical, emotional, our spiritual energy. Where's that energy going? Are you leaking it out on Facebook? But then number 2, is your finances. Like where your finances go, that type of investment. And then also just really your thought process. So go back to that conversation and just talk to me about that 4th F.
Yeah, so that finance is key. I mean, honestly, we have so many people come in, and our vitamin protocols are not small. You know what I mean? We're really trying to make a lot of change and make a big impact. Not like you need to be taking as much as I have. In fact, I have interns in my office, and you're talking about what you're putting your money where your mouth is, right? Kind of what you're spending your money on. If we look at my protocol, honestly, it's kind of neat. I have my interns actually load my vitamins, and hopefully Stuart's not listening to this either, but I have my interns load my vitamins literally because I want them to see what I'm taking and why I'm taking it, and ask me questions later. Right. So they're going, oh, doc, you're taking this, Diaplex or Metabol or whatever you're doing, and why are you doing this? It's so that we can have a conversation about the investment I'm making in me and, Claire, and of course, yes, the dog food comes shipped, delivered. I mean, literally, I hear you. It's here all the time. And I have a 17-year-old dog who's still walking around, still loving life. I'm not going to pull her up here, but she's walking around here somewhere. That at any moment, I feel like sometimes she's not doing well. Then all of a sudden, man, she's wagging her tail. It's time to eat. We're ready to rock. So that's that vitality, right, brother? And to me, when it comes to that whole mindset is literally telling somebody, well, if you can't spend your money on this, what are you spending your money on? And what are you getting 100% return on in that investment? Because guess what? If you start taking care of this body, you're going to get 100% return on that investment. And that investment has to be exercise, lifestyle, food that you're putting in. And you talked about this too, about the focus in our tribe. You are the common denominator, the 5 people you spend the most of your time with. So, buddy, choose wisely on the people you're going to spend your time with. Because there can be those people that will take you completely in the wrong direction. And they're okay on occasion for a short amount of time, but they can't be there all the time on a regular basis. You have to have this.
He froze up on me. Bob, you still there?
Okay, me too. I didn't know whether it was me for a sec, but oh, look at that passion though. It is.
Yeah, look at passion. So I would tell you, just reviewing those four F's that we were just talking about, the function, and that means literally getting our bodies to move properly. Think anyway, if a rigid body ends up having a rigid mind, and that's lacking our function, then of course, we talk about fuel, and you and I talk about this all the time, Karen. The God's garden, keeping it simple. Maybe one of the most important takeaways that Bob shared with us tonight is the idea of that the body works better off of less, not more. That is huge. That is such a big thing right there, that the body does better with less, not more. So hopefully everyone take that. Hopefully Bob can join us again here, because you got to ask him that question, right? And then, And then, and then the focus. So I love the way he maps this out, these 4 F's, and the focus, everything, just like literally what do we focus on? Where's our energy? What's our tribe doing? And then the financial part of it. When I think of like financial investments, I think of like,
I'm back.
You're back. So I was just recapping everything you did here. So yeah.
My internet crashed, actually. That's what just happened. My internet just went away. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no big
They're already trying to censor us, Bart. They're censoring us.
No, Bob, you have too much energy. You just sucked it out of your
Oh, it was. You crashed the internet.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Karen, why don't you snag a question or 2 more here, and then we're going to put the big question to Bob, and then we'll let our viewers go tonight.
Let's go. We've got a question from Donna. And she says, I suffer from migraines. I avoid gluten, dairy, and most of the time sugar. I stay away from processed foods and eat pretty clean most of the time. But is there anything you suggest I can take? At the moment, I take magnesium glycinate.
Okay. Okay, wow. So there's like I think somebody said over 500 different types of migraines or headaches. Now, the question then, it's Donna, right?
Donna.
Mm-hmm. Donna. So the question will be where our headache is. So if it's in the base of our head, in the back of our skull, that headache, and it may be migraines. If it's back here, it's probably going to be something to do with digestion. If the migraine seems like it's over the side of our head, that's going to be more probably hormonal. And then if it's in the front, then we're looking at some sort of food sensitivity or allergy or something like that you're still getting in, even though you've eliminated those toxins. By the way, high five. Excellent job getting rid of those irritants. Now what we need to do then is just by taking magnesium, and here's the common mistake, Bart, right? And you hear this all the time in your office, I'm sure. We eliminate all these foods, but then we never really do what? We don't strengthen the body. The key is getting the nutrition in to strengthen the gut lining to help with that. That's where you really need somebody to probably help you, guide you a little bit, and get some ideas of what you need to do. I love the idea of magnesium. It's a great product. I don't know if that's going to be the biggest thing to help fix the headache. But then, and that's such a tough thing to kind of figure out. But I'd love it. I mean, Bart, we can give them our information. They're more than welcome to contact us, and we can kind of talk to them about it. But there's so many things that can go along with that. But I hope that give you that idea. Hopefully, you know whether it's the side or the front or the back, and then maybe. Oh, go ahead.
It's the eyes and the neck.
Yeah. So, and it probably shoots from the back and goes forward. So that's left occipital nerve, really, Bart, which is starting from that digestive system and working its way forward. I think that's going to be something to do with the liver. And I would do something to help with the liver detoxification. There's a lot of different things you can do, like milk thistle, or Diaplex may even help, to be honest, with that whole the 5 areas that we're working on. I don't think that's a targeted answer for you. I apologize, but it does give you an opportunity to kind of think about what's going on there. But definitely digestion. I think that's it. You got to strengthen it after you've eliminated. So
yeah, and Bob, I think this brings up a great point for all of us, especially in this environment right now. Because you and I will do a lot of the same things. We'll have people pull things out of their diet, avoid them. It does not make them stronger. It's no different than exactly what's going on right now with COVID. We can run and hide, we can social distance, we can put a mask on, we can stick our head in the ground. It doesn't make us stronger. So Donna, as you do here, phenomenal. I high five you for being able to avoid that. It's pretty much all the American diet right there. And I get it, because most of those things you just said there, I'm with you on that. So now the transition will be to strengthen that is weakened, or strengthen that has been deficient over time. And like Bob said, if that's something we can help you out, we'll just reach out to one of us. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, and another thing about that, Bart, too, and like that COVID, and I think this ties in, maybe I have another question about it. It ties into, you can't digest food if you're running from a tiger. So if you're under chronic stress and you're having this chronic COVID, or your parents are talking to you, or your mom's wife, or your whatever, and you wake up all the time and you're always stressed out because you got all these things that are going on, you're not digesting your food. So even though you've eliminated those toxins, you're really not getting the good nutrients to be absorbed anyway. And that's kind of the one thing that I would probably go into also a little bit more on that one. Bart, I know you agree with that too. So yeah.
Yeah, and both of you work with people virtually, so they don't have to be in your towns to be able to work together?
No, not at all. They can be anywhere, all over the world, right, brother?
That's right. That's the beauty of our technology right now.
Yeah. But we will, I'll tell you what, I will refer, and I see I'm real close to Life University, so I take care of a lot of docs. And a lot of these doctors come in, I get a lot of interns, Bart. I don't know if you get that yet, but we got a lot of peak students coming in. So I send them all over. So we've got contacts and connections all over for chiropractic care too. I think that's a big thing we're missing. Don't miss that, a part of that function. That function's key. You've got to get that nervous system. It controls and it regulates and controls everything in the body. If it's not moving well, I mean, like you said, if you're rigid, I mean, you're not really ready to thrive. So.
Yeah, awesome, for sure. Okay, question from Kathleen. Can you take Diaplex forever? Or is it something that you just take monthly only?
Oh, buddy. All right, so I just had a lady finish a 10-day. I said, hey, how about we do it a 20-day? How about we go to 30 days? How about we go to 40 days? How about we go? And because she's like, oh my God, I feel amazing. I'm like, well, then why would you stop? Keep doing what you're doing. And I told her, even tone down. Now, the gym NEMA, I probably wouldn't take on a long-term basis unless I was maybe doing like a 1 or a half. I don't think you have to do too many, right? I mean, kind of just go a little bit slower with that. But I will tell you this, the idea then behind the Diaplex, remember, it is a multivitamin that supports a bunch of different systems. So I think you can stay on this. I mean, literally, it's probably one of my top products that we use in the office. And then we get strategic, like we kind of dive in a little bit more if we need to. So yeah, no problem taking it.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, Dr. Bob, we like to end our show by making health simple. We like to wrap it up, make it simple for people. And we always love to know what our guests think is the one action item that viewers can take away today, one action item to move them towards their goal of becoming superhuman.
Wow. Okay, so Bart, that is the wrong question to ask me because I've got a lot of energy and I got 2 minutes, so I could throw about 4 or 5. But no, so to me, like I think what you're talking about, Bart, I think the deal that you have right now with the with doing the Hypothalamus and Diaplex, if they've never been on it, that'd be awesome. But then again, I really want people to know it's literally about eating less is okay. We are better at adapting less food than we are adapting to excessive food. Giving ourselves the opportunity to kind of tone down and slow down that body's ability to use that sugar constantly and use fat more as a fuel source and not go into it too deep with the ketosis and stuff like that. I just think it's easy. I mean, I think it's one of those things that if you can get that mindset right and slow down that body's ability to be dependent on sugar, man, it's easy to push food away. It's not that hard at all.
And it's all. Yeah, Bob, you nailed it. I could talk to you all night long. Yeah. But I think we're kind of at our time. So listen, I want to thank you for coming on, Bob. We're dropping bombs. I'm definitely going to invite you to come back on. Hopefully you'll do that for us. We'll continue to dive deeper and deeper. I love you, brother. Thank you for coming on. Give your wife a big hug for me.
Yeah, right back at you, brother. I love you guys too. Thank you guys so much. It's been an honor to be able to hang out with you guys. And I mean, literally, it's a total joy to do this. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
So good. It's been super fun. So everyone, we are back at the same time next week. Make sure you're registered to join us on so that we can answer your questions as well. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.
Right.